Hi, my name is Remy and welcome to Remy's Rules and Reviews. It's been a while since my last Myth video and I remember that I was supposed to talk to you about the SlaughterField game variant for Myth. I've touched on that subject a little in the second video about Myth, but I never got around to showing you guys how it works, so this is it. The first thing you have to know is this is a different game mode than the standard adventure mode in Myth. So most of the rules will be the same, but there will be some slight changes. So the first thing you need to know is SlaughterField always happens on a 12 by 12 tile. So you can pick any one you want, but it's always on 12 by 12 tiles. And instead of having monsters come at you or spawn from lairs, the monsters actually show up in waves. So this is really an arena type of game variant or gauntlet game variant. So every time a new wave shows up, you're going to be surrounded by that wave. So the monsters will pop from all sides of the tile and they'll try and run you over. This game, or this game mode I should say, is a semi-co-op version of Myth. So you'll still be playing together, every hero together, but so you won't be attacking each other, that's what I mean. But the goal of the game is actually to outlive the other heroes. So you're not actively trying to get rid of the other heroes, but you're hoping to last longer than them. So this is in the base set. This game mode comes in the base set of Myth. There is also an expansion coming up for SlaughterField that will include a bunch of different things, most notably some SlaughterField tiles. So I'm not sure if they're going to include a 12 by 12 tile in that, but they will include some small tiles to place the new waves of monsters as they show up. Instead of popping on the 12 by 12, they will pop on smaller tiles that you will place on the four sides of the tile. Also, you will get a random wave generator, because in the base set, each wave that you're gonna face is described in the rulebook at page 49, but every game you'll play with the base set rule will always have the same amount of monsters and the same rank of monsters coming in wave 1. So wave 1 will always be the same. The only thing you can change is the monster type you pick. So you choose whatever monster type you want to face. But for example, the wave 1 will always be 3 minions per side, and all 12 of those minions will be of the same monster type. So you can choose which monster type, but that's the only decision you have to make in the base set. So on wave 2 would be 4 minion per side, etc. If you have the expansion, then the random wave generator will add some randomness to the waves, so you don't know for sure what's about to come up. So that's a great addition if you like the game mode. Also, you will get additional items, own items that are exclusive to the SlaughterField mode, and those items are actually stronger than the blue ones. So they're very powerful items, but you can only use them in SlaughterField mode. You will also get cards that have the secret objective for every hero. So every hero will draw a couple of them at the start of the game, and when you resolve one, you reveal it, explain what you had to do, and then you will get two bonuses for having succeeded at that secret objective. First one is you get to pick a card in those new powerful cards, and the second thing you get is extra victory points for the end. because in the base set SlaughterField mode, the only thing you try to do is be the last hero standing. If the last hero standing is the winner. With the expansion, you add to that a mechanic of victory points where maybe you die before another hero, but if you succeeded some secret objectives before you died, then you could actually end up winning even though you died, let's say the second hero died. So that's pretty much what's new with the expansion. If you like the mode, I think it's a great investment, but that's up to you. So what I'm gonna talk to you about today is really the base set SlaughterField, because I actually don't have the expansion yet, so I will concentrate on the base set SlaughterField. To me, this game mode really shines with at least 3 monster types or more. So again, with only the base set, I'm not a big fan of the SlaughterField variant yet, I should say, because we only have 2 different monster types in the base set. So I really think having 3 and even 4 monster types is a great thing for SlaughterField, because this way you can face up a bunch of different monsters at the same time and try and figure out the best strategy to face each different race. And also you could use, because in this game mode, since this is not part of any adventure, you'll start with a vanilla hero. So basic hero decks, basic equipment, you start from scratch, but nothing prevents you from just using this mode to try out some different hero cards combination. So you could try and pick some advanced card and put them in your deck, just see how they play out, see how they interact with other cards and everything. If you like how it ends up, then you may actually put those cards in your deck for real in the adventure mode. So I think it's a great way to show the game, and it's a great way to try some things out and also test the new monsters. So when you buy a new pack of monsters, a new monster type, instead of throwing in an adventure game, you can just play a quick SlaughterField game, see how they play out, and then after that face them in the adventure mode. So as I said earlier, the SlaughterField game variant uses the same exact rules as the normal game. So you won't have to learn a bunch of new rules. The only things that change are what I'm about to say. So you do not worry about the tile legend. So you start in the middle of a 12 by 12. You start in any of the 16 central squares or spaces. You place your hero wherever you want within those 16 central spaces. You ignore the tile population legend, so there is no lair, no hunting pack, and no quest, and no treasure limit. So this is a big difference. So you can drop as many treasure as you manage to drop during the game. Also, treasures will drop every 2 minions you kill instead of every 3 minions you kill. So that's easier to drop more treasures. And also the other normal way of dropping treasures, so killing captains and mini bosses, still apply, of course. So it's easier to drop treasure in this game mode, which is a good thing, because remember, you start with only your basic equipment, and the waves are gonna get harder and harder every time, and they're gonna get harder quick. So I mean, it's a good thing. You can try and pimp out your equipment, and maybe you draw an item that's not very good for you, but it's very good for one of the other hero. Now, in the normal game mode, of course, you're gonna trade and give him that item. In this mode, you may want to keep that item even if you don't use it, just so you don't help out too much the other hero. But then if he picks up something that's useful for you, then you can trade if you're both happy with the trade. So that's one thing to consider. Also, the treasure bag, you won't be using the treasure bag from your adventure. So you will start with a new adventure or new treasure bag, sorry. But this time you remove all the white tokens and put all the greens and the blues in that bag right away. So you will always pick something that's good or very good, or I should say maybe decent or good. But also this means you will never pick up potions. So no anti-venom potions and no vitality potions. So that's something to consider also. So that's maybe an advantage for a hero like the Acolyte, where he can heal himself and maybe decide to heal someone else, but he doesn't have to. The other heroes can't heal themselves, so only the Brigand could remove. If the Brigand is poisoned, he has one card to remove poison, so maybe he can get around with that. But every other hero, if the Acolyte decides not to help you, it might be a short game. So again, your experience may vary. Try it out and see how it plays. Also, all monster types are automatically active. So as soon as a monster is put on the tile, it's already active. You don't need to check threat range. You simply, the monsters are always active, so you have one step or one thing less to worry about while playing the game. They're always active. Another big difference is you do not use the darkness cards. So at the start of the darkness cycle, you simply go and move the monsters, have them attack you, and you're back to the hero cycle. So you do not draw darkness cards, sorry. So this means a couple of things. First and foremost, threat penalty won't occur. So there are no threat penalty in SlaughterField. So that's a big difference. This means you can pretty much go crazy with the threat. In my experience, having a hero hit the threat penalty is pretty much what not breaks the game, but kills every hero in the game. Because once you get one threat penalty and then trying to overcompensate for that mistake, then you have another hero hit a second threat penalty and so on. So that's usually the beginning of the end when a hero hits a threat penalty. But no problem, this will not happen in SlaughterField. There are no threat penalty. So you can have a very high threat. Of course, enemies that prioritize their targets by threat will come to you, but I mean, it's not as bad as in the regular game. Also, since you don't draw darkness card, this means you don't have an activation order, or the activation order won't vary depending every darkness cycle, sorry. So the activation order is always the same in SlaughterField. It's always minions, captains, mini-bosses, and bosses. So that's not going to change. And the last thing is, of course, no spawns. But there are no lairs, so anyways you would ignore the spawns. So remember, the spawns don't, or the monsters are not added through lairs in this mode. They're added from each side of the tile. They are added with the wave mechanic I was talking about earlier. So at the very beginning of the game, you're going to place all your heroes at the center of the tile, and then you will populate the first wave in the base set SlaughterField. That means you put 3 minions per side. All of those minions, all 12 minions will be of the same monster type. So you pick whatever monster type you want to put in play, and all 12 of them are of the same monster type. You would carry on like that every time you need to place a new wave. So you have a couple special rules when you play with starting at wave 4, if I'm right. Yeah, starting on wave 4. If you decide for some reason to only play with one monster type the whole game, then starting at wave 4, you will add 1 more AP during each refresh phase for the rest of the game. because at that point you should have two monster types in play at the same time, because wave 4 would normally have you put up two different monster types. And then at wave 8 you would need to add 2 more APs for the rest of the game in every refresh phase, because at that point you should have 3 monster types in play. If you play with the base set, the best you can do is have 2 monster types in play. So starting at wave 8, you will have a 1 AP one AP penalty for during each refresh phase. So because you should have 3 monster types in play, but then you can't do it because in the base set you only have 2. So again, if you go back to my last video about Myth, that's one of the reasons for my comment that I really wished we had 3 monster types in the base set. And there are two ways the next wave will show up. So either, or I should start and explain, you need to keep track of the wave timer during SlaughterField. So when you place the first wave, you're gonna use one of the D10s and put it on 4. So this is your wave timer. I usually place it on the darkness board. And this timer, you will reduce that timer by 1 at the very beginning of every refresh phase. So before you do everything else you need to do, so before the darkness meter step, you would add this new step, that's the wave timer step, if you will. So the very first thing you're gonna do is reduce the timer by 1. This means you have 4 hero cycle to try and clear that wave. If you successfully kill all the enemies on the tile before that timer reaches 0, so within 4 hero cycle, what you will do is you will complete your hero cycle and then go through all the motion, the deck phase, and then the refresh phase. And after the refresh phase, you will populate the second wave or the next wave. So by doing so, the advantage you have is that the new guys show up and then you start right away. So they don't count during the refresh phase as an active monster type. The other way to add the new wave is if the darkness timer or the wave timer reaches 0. So if at the very beginning of the refresh phase you turn the die to 0, so this means this is you've completed your 4 hero cycle with that wave, then you would place the next wave right away. So just before you do the darkness meter step. So then if you add a new monster type or 2 new monster types by doing so, then the AP track will go up a lot quicker during that refresh phase. So that's a big penalty, especially in the last waves, where you can add 3 different monster types just with the 1 new wave, and you maybe have 1 or 2 at least 1 monster type left, maybe 2 monster types left. So that refresh phase can cost you 5 AP, so that's huge. No matter why or how the new wave got added to the tile, you don't, or I should say, sorry, I'm gonna start over. If you clear a tile during sorry, I'm having problems now. If you clear a wave before the timer reaches 0, you don't keep the remaining hero cycle on that timer. So you place the new tile and you put you start a new wave timer at 4 again. So if you still had 1 hero cycle left, you don't have 5 hero cycles for the second wave. So you just reset the die to 4 and start over. So that's the 2 ways to add new monster during SlaughterField. Also, you should know that in the normal adventure mode, some chapter quests ask you to play a SlaughterField tile. So it's not necessarily very easy to see at first, but in the setup section, if you look at the chapter quest, A Desperate Act, in the setup section you have the small SlaughterField icon. So this is how they tell you that the tile is actually a SlaughterField tile. So you would keep populating the tile as normal, but this is a SlaughterField tile. So you would use the SlaughterField rules for that specific tile during your adventure. So of course in that case you wouldn't reset your equipment. I mean you would keep playing as normal. You wouldn't reset your treasure bag, so you would keep your normal treasure bag. Also the treasure limit on the tile would apply, and you would still need to kill 3 minions instead of 2 to pop a treasure, but everything else is the normal SlaughterField rules. So there are those quests in there, so just be aware of that. They're kind of SlaughterField, but it's SlaughterField light, I like to call, so it's not exactly the real thing. So in this video I just wanted to show you how the real SlaughterField mode works, but just be aware that there is something, a SlaughterField light version, or the chapter quest SlaughterField. Some of them are there in the chapter deck. Now I'm just gonna show you real quick a setup of SlaughterField with 2 heroes, just so you can see how you place everything. Just made me think of something. Be aware also that your games are probably gonna be shorter with only 2 heroes instead of 4 or 5, because the waves don't scale depending on the amount of heroes you have in play. So it can get a lot harder quickly with only 2 heroes instead of 5. So just be aware of that. It doesn't break the game in any way, because it makes it harder for every hero, so it's really not a concern. But you can expect to go to reach higher waves with 4 or 5 heroes than if you only play with 2 heroes. So with that said, I'm gonna go to the table now to show you a setup example of the game, and let you see how it plays out. Okay, so here we are. I've set up the SlaughterField tile. When you place your heroes during SlaughterField, you always need to place them in the center of the tile, so the central 16 squares on the tile. You can place your hero wherever you want on that in those spaces. I like playing SlaughterField on this specific tile because the center is an obstacle. There's a big column there, so it makes things a bit harder on the heroes, and I always try and make things as hard as possible for the players during a co-op game, even if this mode is a semi-co-op. So, and for some reason I like the idea of being trapped near a cemetery or something and just being surrounded by monsters. So that's just me. You can use any 12 by 12 tile, so they would all work. I'm gonna set up the wave timer here at 4, and I'm gonna place the first wave. So I'm gonna start with crawlers, and the wave generator tells me to put three minions of the same monster type per side. So I'm just gonna surround myself with crawlers. There you go. And the rules tell you to always start in the middle of each side to populate the minions, and then if there's an extra one, like in the case of, or I should say if there's an odd number to place, then just put it anywhere. And I believe so. I don't need this. In my treasure bag I've placed all the greens and blues. As you can see, the whites are here. I've also set up the green and blue items pile because I won't need the white ones. As you can see, I've put all my basic gear for each hero, and I believe I'm ready to start. So I'm just gonna grab my first hand of cards with the apprentice, just have a quick look. Okay, so the brigand is gonna go into shadows. He doesn't have a good attack card right now, so instead of using Shadow Slip to get into shadows, I'm going to use one of the dark so I can keep my reaction shadow cards for later. So this is the first thing I'm going to do. And I think that's pretty much all he's going to do this turn. The Apprentice is going to try and get rid of a couple of crawlers. So first thing he's gonna do is he's gonna move up two spaces, and then he's gonna use the mountain crumbles on this guy and crumble this way. So he's gonna kill the first two minions. So this would make this would drop a treasure. So since I've moved normally, I get only one bonus fate dice, so I get 2 fate dice plus the d10 from my lucky cup because this is a spell. So I'm only getting the bonuses from my lucky cup. So I need extra d10. So I need 4 or higher. I got it barely, but I got it. So and I missed my recipe. So those 2 guys are dead, and this is the first treasure. As you can see, I didn't put the treasure marker on the darkness tile. I could have, but since there's no real treasure limit, I just didn't want to confuse anybody by placing them there. So he gains 2 threat. This is a 1 AP card, and this is also all the Apprentice is going to do this cycle. So during the deck phase, I'm going to keep Shadow Slip with the Brigand. Get rid of those, draw back up to 5, and with the Apprentice I will get rid of everything, draw 5 new cards, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Alright, so that's better. And during the refresh phase I've got only 1 type of monster active, so they gain an AP. And I should have reduced this first before I added AP, but you get the idea. So now 3 hero cycles left, so I really have to activate right now, and the Brigand has no attack cards again. So I think I'm just going to move up 1 space so that I don't lose my shadow. The Acolyte is going to play Arcane Lance on that guy just to try and get rid of him, and I'm gonna move my normal move afterwards to stand on the treasure marker, so I get +1 target number. So I get 1 fate dice and 2 d10s, and I need 5. I got it. You're dead. I forgot to reduce my threat during the deck phase. I'm sorry, because I forgot to remove that card. Obviously, I mean, I'm trying to play fast here and I'm forgetting stuff. I apologize for that. So I gain 1 threat for killing that guy, and I'm gonna move my 2 movement, my 2 normal movement points. I'm done for this cycle, so I'm gonna keep Blood of Gaia for the Apprentice. And again, the Brigand will keep Shadow Slip. So this time I'm gonna do all I have to do. So I've got 3 open slots. I reduce my threat and I get rid of that spell. Still no threat here. In the refresh phase, I have only 2 cycles left. So it really looks like I'm gonna have to face wave 1 and wave 2 at the same time shortly, because I can't seem to draw any attack cards. And only 1 monster type is active, so I add 1 AP. I obviously forgot to add the AP for Arcane Lance, so I'm going to do it now. Again, sorry, I'm trying to play too fast. Now I'm going to take my time a little bit. First thing the Apprentice will do is pick up that treasure. So that's 1 movement point. I hope I get something good. Green 1. So, green card. What did I find? I found the Ornate Chalice. That's a good item for the Acolyte. So the Acolyte is in there. You can see with the small icon here, the relic icon here. so I can't do anything with that. So I won't equip it in the next refresh phase. Now I have one movement point left with the apprentice, and so I could move here and do 1, 2, 3. I'm gonna use Blood of Gaia, so that and I'm gonna target this space here, so I'm gonna kill those two guys, and this will add 2 AP, so they will activate after that. So I get -1 D10 because I move normally, so I only have 1 fate dice and 1 D10 because I lose the extra D10 from my lucky cup. And I need the 4. I missed. Nice. So I don't kill those two and I don't drop a treasure, but I still add the 2 AP, so now they activate. So the crawler priority is proximity and then threat. Right now, both my heroes don't have any threat, but anyways, they can't see the brigand, so everybody's gonna go for the apprentice. So that's probably the idea of the brigand right there. Just try and get everybody to attack the apprentice and have a quick match. So they have a movement of 4. So 1, 2, 3. This one's gonna follow him. 1, 2. Now there's a blue outline here. I'm not sure if you can see it, but there's a blue line here, so he can't just go through. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And this, I'm gonna do all the melees first. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now the ranged guys, they have a range of, let me see, they have a range of 3. So they need to get into range, so he only has to move there. 1, 2, 3, 4. And 1, 2, 3, 4. So he's going to receive only 1 attack from that melee guy and 2 attacks from those range guys. I'm just going to have a look and see if he can do anything during the darkness cycle. He can't, so they're going to attack. This guy, he needs a 7 or more. He got it, so 1 hit. And I'm going to roll the fate dice to see if he poisons me. If I roll a darkness symbol, like I just did. So things are bleak for the apprentice. He's already poisoned. And the 2 ranged guys are going to attack the apprentice too. They both miss. So only 1 damage, but he's already poisoned. So it's not looking good for the apprentice. We are now back in the hero cycle. So I can reduce the AP to 0. Now the brigand doesn't have much he can do. But instead of just doing nothing, he's gonna attack the ranged guy right here. So this is not a card that combos off of shadow, so he doesn't get any bonuses from being in shadows. So he only has 2 D10 and 1 fate dice for the attack. He needs 4 or more. He got it. I'm scared of the dice I'm rolling today. I only barely hit him, so he pops out of shadow because he successfully attacked someone. And he gains 1 threat for the damage he done and 1 AP because the attack card is 1 AP. That's all I'm gonna do with the brigand. And the acolyte will play research to get a reroll. I guess I should have played that first, so that he could have rerolled 1 of his D10 on the Blood of Gaia attack. Alright, so that's all for this hero cycle. So during the deck phase, I'm gonna remove Blood of Gaia, keep the ongoing, and I'm gonna keep nothing from my hand. Just draw 5 new cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Alright, so now I'll be able to do some damage with the apprentice next turn. And I'm again gonna keep Shadow Slip with the brigand. There you go. I have 2 empty spaces, so I reduce my threat. I get rid of those 2 cards. And now I'm in the refresh phase. So first thing, I'm gonna reduce the timer to 1. So this is the last hero cycle. The heroes have to get rid of all 8 minions remaining. So I've only managed to kill 4 guys up to now. That's not looking good. And I'm gonna add 1 AP for the monster type, the active monster type. Things are looking better. So I'm gonna go ahead and let the apprentice start. So I'm gonna use Illuminate as an ongoing. I won't have the time to use it, but I needed 2 ongoings to power my Fingers of Aya. I'm gonna attack those 3 guys with Fingers of Aya. And I'm gonna move my normal movement afterward because the second guy to die will be this one. So this is where the treasure is gonna drop. So I'm gonna go stand over the treasure right away. So I get +1 target number. I can use my reroll if I need it. So I'm feeling good right now. So I get 2d10 and 1 fate dice. I need 5 because I have a penalty on my target number. I did it, and I've also I've got my fate dice recipe, so I can lower my threat by 1. So I'm only gonna go up 2. So I kill those 2 guys, the treasure drops here, and this guy. And then I'm gonna move, this is a 2 AP card. I've done everything, and I'm gonna move my normal movement right away. Now the brigand use suicide run. So since I'm not gonna move after playing that card, and that card on its own is not considered to be a movement, I get +1 d10 and +1 fate dice, and I'm gonna kill those two guys. Or sorry, I should say I'm gonna spend 1 movement point afterward because I'm gonna pick up the treasure right away, so I can't use those bonuses. So I only have 2 d10s and 1 fate dice. And I can't use Research or Illuminate because they've been consumed by Fingers of Aya. I like putting them face down, so they still occupy a space, but I know they can't be used anymore. So I need a 4, I got it, so I kill those 2 guys. The treasure drops under me, and I'm gonna spend 1 movement point to pick it up. So I'm just gonna grab the treasure bag, green token, so green deck. And I got the longsword. I think it was meant for the soldier, but I don't care. I'm gonna use it and equip it in the next refresh phase. So this was 1 AP, so darkness activates. Now both are visible, so I need to figure out who they're gonna attack. So proximity first. He's 4 spaces away. 1, 2, 3, 4. Also 4 spaces away. Threat is the second thing. He just got 2 threats, so they're tied again. The third thing is guile, so the brigand will be the target of the attacks. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, that's legal. 1, 2, 3. So we can have line of sight, and he's within range. So he's gonna receive 3 attacks unless he can do something, and he can't. So he's gonna receive the 2 melee attacks first. I guess I could play all 3 at the same time. So he receives 1 attack. They needed a 7, so he got hit once, 1 point of damage. So I'm gonna roll 1 fate dice. He's not poisoned. Everything's fine. So that was the darkness cycle. We'll reset this to 0, and the heroes can resume their turn. The apprentice will play Aura of the Elements for 1 AP, so this allows him to absorb the first point of damage he receives every hero cycle. And the brigand won't do anything else, so this is the end of the hero cycle. The apprentice has all his action slot full, so he can't reduce his threat. I'm gonna remove all 3 cards and keep Aura of the Elements. And I'm gonna keep. I won't keep anything. I'm just gonna draw 5 new cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The brigand can reduce his threat by 3, so he's back to 0. Remove Suicide Run. Again, I'm gonna keep Shadow Slip. because it's so useful to be able to go back into shadows even after an attack. Alright, so this is the refresh phase now. So first thing I'm gonna do is reduce this timer to 0. So I failed to clear the wave before the timer reached 0, so the second wave shows up right away. Wave 2 is made up of 4 minions of 1 monster type, 4 sides per type. This means I'm gonna put grubbers, and I need to put 4 of them on each side. So as you can probably see, I've only managed to paint or completely paint 5 of those guys so far. So the other ones are simply green. They don't come green in the box. I mean, I've primed them green for now. And do I have any others? Or no, I need 16 minions and I only have 15 grubbers. So this is what I was talking about in the review video. I really think they should have put 16 monsters instead of 15, because I'm already unable to place all the minions and I'm only on wave 2. So I'm gonna put, what should I use? I'm gonna put this token here to represent the 4th grubber. So just know this is not a treasure token. I'm gonna put the wave timer back to 4, and now I've got 2 different monster type on the tile, so I add 2 AP. And I would carry on this way as long as I need, or as long as at least one hero is alive, so you can try and see who's gonna last the longest. Alright, so that's SlaughterField for Myth. Hopefully you've enjoyed this video. I've tried to keep it short. If you have any questions or comments about this video, of course, write them below in the comment section below. If you have a special idea or something you would like me to show you in Myth, you can also ask in the section below. Same thing, if you have a game you would like to see on my series, then just drop a suggestion. If I have that game, I'll try and make a video about it to help you out if I can. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.